Hey everybody, it's Wednesday and time for a craft demo. I'm running a little late, so let's see, I'm gonna turn that off and I'm just gonna jump straight to it. I was thinking about, no, let me back up. My name's Angharad. I own Craftiness, which is a craft supply store in Chatsworth, California, just shy of Los Angeles. And if you want to know more about it and about the store, you can check it out at craftinessonline.com. If you want to see what I sell, craftinessonlineshop.com. Today I'm going to be working things that I both sell and don't sell, and I'll tell you why. I was thinking about the things that people have asked me about that are in the store, but that I haven't talked about recently. And so I was thinking maybe it's time to do another example of mold making. Oh, sorry, I am not organized today. Sorry. I just realized I have my computer out, so I can't see if you're commenting, which is a big part of what I need to do on Wednesdays. So, okay, so just to give you an idea of what it is that we'd be trying to accomplish, this is an example of the finished product when you use a mold. Let's see if we can get, there we go. So most of these things were made with resin. Let me just double check if that's the case. I think so anyway. And glued together, oh, that was just paint, glued together. And then with using liquid fusion, it looks like, onto an old cigar box. And then I've been layering up on it. And I'll tell you, I meant to do this as a class, but I haven't yet because I'm not finished with this. I don't like it yet. And so since I don't like it, I'm not willing to put it up as a class. So I'm going to work on finishing it. How's that for our goals? And but for today, I just wanted to show you what the building blocks might look like. And that I sell most of it. The things I don't sell, let's see. The building blocks might look like. All right, so I don't sell this model light, and that is from a very kind customer of mine brought this in for me to see. And so I'll play with that again today and show you what the end product looks like. The thing I do sell is this is a broken box of it. Oh no, it looks like maybe I didn't do enough to keep it soft. I did that. So this is now done. Use that to sink something in the ocean. All right, so what I do have is I have ICE resin, and I have this Delight air dry modeling compound. And before we're done here, I will go and get some of the Crayola stuff because I do like it. And this is just a slice of the kinds of molds I have. I would say I have probably 75% of the Prima decor molds, and all of Finnabair's. Prima's company that puts these out is called Redesign. So if you're wondering why it doesn't say Prima on it, that's why. They have this little sub company. And I have so many different versions. This one is one that does cameos. And I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. Hi, Lois. And then this one does like postal codes and butterflies, which isn't always a sweet combination. And this one does like door pull or keyholes, more like keyholes. And I haven't used this one before, so I haven't used either of these. That's why I pulled it. You'll notice that this one is very well represented in that sample that I was playing with, as well as a few others from Stamperia and stuff like that. Maybe I'll grab those before I'm done too. So I wanted to show you several different ways of making them. Right off the bat, I'm going to tell you that my favorite is actually polymer clay. And this is I sell this Sculpty III. And the advantage of this is that if you don't get a good impression, you're not stuck with it, you can redo it and then bake it. So once you have something you like, you can bake it. And then you can carve it, stamp it, you can buff it to a fine sheen. There's all sorts of fun things you can do once your polymer clay is baked. And that's what I like about it. This is actually a very dirty piece, so I would end up painting this or staining it or something like that. But this is actually translucent, and you can use translucent with a whole bunch of different other kinds of Sculpey. You can mix them together and make faux gemstones. So for something like this, where you might want, it's also very pliable once you warm it up, which is kind of fun. I'll just start with a smaller piece. That was too much. But imagine that I put together a faux quartz or a faux jade and was using it in this particular mold. That might be a really fun thing to do, to end up with something that looks like you know, an old Greek coin, which I don't know if you can see that, but imagine that in sort of a jade, a fake jade. Maybe I'll do that one of these days. I've always intended to bring in more Sculpey and more colors, so I can show you how to do some of the things like that. But it's just, you know, I don't know if you can see the detail. Let's see if I can get this close enough. But it really does pick up a lot, and so when you bake it, it'll bake hard and maybe slightly pliable depending on how hard you do it. The drawback is that it is not solid until you bake it, and that sometimes you can overheat it and it can get a little sticky. So, you know, if that happens, you just leave it alone for a little while. It's a little like beeswax clay. If you've ever had an opportunity to play with beeswax, that's really fun. It picks up your body heat, and you can make it comes pliable, and you can work it. It's actually something that they do at Waldorf schools, which is what my children go to, and it promotes mindfulness and meditation and fine motor coordination, all sorts of fun stuff. So if you're one of those fidgety people, a little bit of beeswax is the Waldorf version of a fidget spinner. So I'm just going to do a couple of big versions of this, and then I'll show you a different medium. So again, this is Sculpey III translucent. I do sell it at the store. I also like the translucent because it, well, one, it doesn't stain anything, right? Because it's clear, quote clear. But also because it does soften up very easily. There are colors that don't, and that's to do with the chemicals that make that color. So for instance, blue is a little hard on the hands. If you're somebody who has issues with using their hands like this, then what you want to do is get a conditioner. It's a little machine. You can use a pasta machine if you really want to, but basically you use that to do the rolling, and you hold it in your hands and roll it through the conditioner, and it will start helping get the clay pliable. There are certain colors that stain, red in particular, stain when you use them. So just things to think about with Sculpey, the things that are the downsides of using it. And I'll show you too that because it does get a little sticky, like for instance, I don't know how good an impression I'll get out of this. Now, using it with the silicone mold is better than like the plastic candy molds and things like that you can get at Michael's. That everyone has one or two of those hanging around, right? Especially if you're a crafter, you've made your own chocolates and stuff by melting chocolate bits and pouring them in molds. So you can use those with these. It's just they're stickier than these silicone molds. These silicone molds are a revelation. Anyway, I don't know if you can see the detail. I'm really hoping you can, because this, I love this. And but again, it's pliable until you bake it. So I will bake those later on my own time. So that's polymer clay. The next thing is a couple of different versions of an air dry clay. This one is Delight, and I'm gonna have to seal this in a Tupperware container. This one is fluffy, like marshmallow fluff. It had a teensy bit damp feeling, so I wonder if I overwork it, if it'll end up feeling a little tough. And very easy to work with. It's not it's already like ready to go when you take it out of the container. Oh, you know what I was going to grab is the quick. So maybe this will be part 1, and maybe later on today or next week I will do part 2 because this, I just realized I have a few more I could show you. And so taking my time, and I haven't worked with this as much. Like I said, the polymer clay tends to be my favorite. And this is a new product for me in the store. But I can say that once these are dry, I do know that they're sort of light and fluffy and easy to paint and glue down onto objects, into projects. So if you are finnabaring, if you are creating a multimedia project with finnabares, molds and accents and colors, then these might be good options for you. It's a little like chewing gum, to be honest. Get this down in there. Okay. Okay, so one thing about cleaning up the back too is you can press it down from above and get a flatter back. And then let's see what we get out of this one. Now this one might not release as well because without letting it dry. And the one thing about the silicone is that you can definitely leave the products in there and let them dry overnight before trying to take them out. But that actually released really well. So now here's a nice thing about this too, is that it's white, and you know, it'll have a little bit of a chalky finish once it's dry. I'm hoping that it won't warp. I'm not sure if it will or not. I haven't used this recently, so, and I haven't used it on something so flat. But that gives you an idea of the quality for the Delight model air dry modeling compound. Now, the downside is I'll bake the polymer clay piece and it will be done once I take it out of and it cools down, once I take it out of the toaster oven. This I have to wait. I have to wait for it to dry. So yes, so we'll sit here, twiddle our thumbs. In the meantime, I will show you yet another product. Now this one I do not have. This was brought in by a longtime customer who thought I would like knowing about it, and I do. This one is very like the Delight, but it's, what's the word, slicker? A little gummier maybe? Like it really does act like chewing gum. So if you're one of those people who like to pull their chewing gum as a kid, then you should grab a tub of this stuff. And let me know if you do like it a lot, because I'll bring it in. I just hadn't seen it before. There's a little bit of a slimy texture to this when it's in the tub, which I think might help it stay, you know, moist. Might be part of what keeps it solidly pliable. So yeah, it's just, you know, it's just a little slippery compared to the stuff. And you can see the color difference between all three of these mediums so far. Just a little bit of a color difference. And I wouldn't need either of these very much before you put them in, because that moisture content, even though it might feel a little funny, is pretty vital to its pliability, and you don't want to dry it out. I think that if you keep messing with it, you might end up losing that pliability by overworking it. Now, that's right, I have done these ones, and I remember now, this one is a little stickier, and because it is so pliable, you have to let it dry in the mold, and wait to get it out, because I'll show you what happens. When you try to pull it out, do you see how it's just stretching? It's sticking to the mold a little bit. There are things you can do to stop that. You can use a little baby powder. You can use some mica powders if you want the color in there. It'd actually be really pretty. These are tips from my customer again. Let's see, what are other things you could do? Probably just mold release would help with that too. But yeah, so this one you have to sort of resign yourself to letting it sit in the mold, which is fine. I did try this out, so I do want to show you what you end up with. I don't know if you can hear it. A little sort of papery feel to it. And, and pliable. Oh, that was dumb. It is pliable, not hugely pliable. It's a little like foam when it's done, but you can see it's got, a surface that's probably very paintable. It'll be interesting to see what this does with spray inks on it and paint. So maybe that's what I'll do with the next one as well. Next one we'll do, part 2 will be painting these things, maybe. Doing the ones that I didn't get to and then painting them. Okay, talking to myself. So far I have shown you the Delight, the Sculpy polymer clay, this model light, and now I want to show you ICE resin. This is something that has been around in my studio or store for a while. This is a product that's been around for a very long time. The woman who makes it is called Susan Lennart Casimir. And she's a Ranger artist, so these are Ranger products. And yes, I was gonna say, is that true? So this is a 2-part resin mixture, so part A and part B. I have another brand that I use that's very fast acting. This is not. This is an overnight cure. So we're gonna put it in the molds and we're gonna leave it and let it cure overnight. And then again, maybe the part 2 we'll see what that does. So part 2 is I'll unmold the things that I have to leave, and we'll do some coloring and stuff of the things that are ready. Okay, so this is part A, and I'm just going to, you know what, I'm actually not gonna pull the thing, I'm gonna pop it like this with a popsicle stick, which I didn't throw away. And then I'm going to put the lid on. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. Clean popsicle stick, because you don't want to mix the parts in accidentally mix the parts in the bottle, believe me. Otherwise you'll end up with all sorts of globbly gook. Okay. So there, part A and part B. One's the resin, one's the hardener. And what you want to do is mix them in equal parts. So, believe it or not, I actually have a little tub here that I have marked with marks on either side. Or 2 marks, I should say, not on either side, but let's be prepared in here. I didn't realize the caps are actually sealed on that. So I'd already done the pre-measuring in this before, and I'd marked the levels. So even my quick set is still part A and part B. These are both my resins are 2-part resins, where you need both sides in equal measure in order to make them work. Now I'm just going to be, well actually maybe not. Let me see. I'm going to do this. I'm going to add the second one. When you take a class from her, she gives you the first one already, and then she comes around and she gives you a dollop of the second bit. She walks around and does the second half. And then you're supposed to mix it. And you will be able to visually see there's slightly 2 different colors. So you'll be able to see the 2 different colors mix. So Lois, I can tell you that the air dry stuff does not last long unless you really seal it up properly, which I'm going to do with a Ziploc bag. The resin, I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. It lasts a long time until you mix it. But when you actually pop the jars, I'm not sure how long it lasts. Technically, it should last forever, because really, unless it mixes with its counterpart, then there's no reason to think that it won't keep. Okay, so both of these, you're going to, both of the resins that I sell, you're going to stir until it is clear. So let's see, next time I will do the quick cure clay, I will do the 10-minute resin, and I will do the Crayola And then we will color in some of this stuff, play with it. But you can see I've let it get kind of bubbly. Now the thing about this one, okay, so my other one is, you want to use it right away, like bam. This one you can let sit because it really does, you can see some streaks there. I'm going to stir it up a little more. You can let it sit and let some of those bubbles resolve themselves because it's not going to set that fast. So you can see that happening a little bit there. It is very viscous though, so it's going to take a little while. And what am I? Yes, it's very much like an epoxy resin. All right, so one thing I was thinking I would do is maybe add, I've got some Wow glitter, and let's see what else I have. I have more than that. Where's my other stuff? Yeah. I've got some Prima Re glitter, and so I'm just going to add glitter because this will dry clear. I'm going to add some glitter to these, some of these elements that I create. There's that and that and that. Okay, so let's do some of these. These are the cameos, the sort of Grecian cameos. And let's see what happens if I add some glitter to this lady here. And I am literally just plunking this stuff. I am not worried too much about getting this perfectly correct. So I'm just going to dribble it into the mold. Try not to get it overfilled. You know, it's not a big deal if you do. With resin, you can snap off extras or cut or sand them off later. And you can also come along with resin and buff it, sand it and buff it. So there's that one. I'm going to do some glitter into this one. Let's see what happens when I do this. Now it never takes as much glitter as you think. I'm actually going to stir this in here. I don't know if you can see how much space that took up, but that was not that big a blob of glitter, resin. So if I really wanted a nice consistent glitter mix, I would have mixed it in the container first. I'm not half-assing it like this. Okay, so another thing I can do, always have popsicle sticks on hand for this, for sure. Let's see, I'm gonna do this one. Dribbling a little on there. Helping it around. Now, if I were a professional, I would have a machine that I put this on that jiggles and would jiggle all the air pockets out. I don't. I'm not. This is all just fun and games. Until somebody loses an eye, of course, but that hasn't happened yet. I won't say never. I won't say that never happens, because last time I said that about someone. Used to say when I taught sewing, no one's ever sewn over their hand, and then someone did, and I was like, can't say that anymore. So yeah, so now I don't say never. Never say never. I actually cursed myself into living in Los Angeles by doing that. Came down here for a trip with someone. I said, I would never live in Los Angeles. 3 years later, bam, here we are, living in Los Angeles. 20 years later, still here. Okay, so I'm just going to do a bunch of this particular mold set because I really like it. I managed to dribble it all over my workbench, which is fine because I have this silicone mat. I just have to let it dry and it will, ooh, those are trying to merge. All right, now I'm going to do some butterflies. Oh, Angharad, make up your mind. I'm going to do the big one. It'd be nice contrast to see this in the two different mediums. I've got, here's the butterfly, and then also, or sorry, the resin, and then I also have it in that model light. I'm definitely going to push the boundaries in terms of how messy you can make this, still get a good result. Alright, I'm going to try dribbling some into the cavities here. We'll see what this gets us. Okay. There's that one. I'm going to do this little butterfly. Why not? If you have an opportunity to take a class from Susan, she is an amazing artist. She does a lot of this resin work she does in the course of making jewelry, and so she's really a jeweler, and her designs are very eclectic and a lot of personality. She has a lot of personality. She's a very interesting person. So if you ever have an opportunity to take a class from her, I highly recommend it. She's the woman I took. Look, I've got dribblage. Oh well. So let's see if I can actually do one without making a mess. Just letting it relax into the mold without messing with it. Maybe I can get one that doesn't overflow its boundaries and end up squeezing into the other one. Nope, it's just not possible. I can't do it. All right, and then I'm going to do one last one here with this. Just going to pour what's left into this mold and see what I get. And because I have some more, this one. And remember, these are all, I need to leave these overnight, so I will unmold these tomorrow, and I'll see how well they came out then. So these require some patience and self-control. All right, yeah, so that's it for today, because now we have to wait. So what was that? 30? No, I was late. So 20 minutes? 25 minutes? And, oh, that's a good question, Lois. No, the other product that I have, the 10-minute product, does heat up and actually feels really warm in your hands. So, not that I've noticed with this one. And so, yeah, I hope that was interesting and that it inspires you to maybe try it yourself. I sell most of these products. I sell the molds. I sell the glitter, which is what I'm actually adding some glitter right now, hoping it'll just sink into that big old butterfly I did. And tomorrow I will unmold them and we'll take a look and see what I got out of it. And then either I'll do part 2 tomorrow or I'll do part 2 next week. But I hope that, yeah, it encourages you to do, if you're interested in the molds, it encourages you to try them. And that if you're interested in any of these products, the air dry clays, the polymer clay, or the resin, that it encourages you to try those too, because they're super easy. All right, thanks for joining me today, everybody. I will see you later. Bye.